Oh yeah, too. So I'm pretty good. Let's fix that. Just give me 1 second. Connecting a controller. Give it a couple seconds. Let's see if anyone pops in. Yeah. Stop 1 sec. 1 sec. 1 sec. Making sure everything's good. Making sure everything's good. Everything's good. Making sure everything's good. Okay. Alright, it's a bit delayed, but it's. Can you hear me at all? Test, test, test. Alright, that's good. Alright, so I guess we'll just get started now. Hopefully, more people will pop in later. Wish I hadn't. Okay, gotta do a lot of stuff. Alright, everyone, welcome. Today we're going to be playing Maiden and Spell, but that's not going to be the core of the gameplay because I'm not going to be on too long. Because I promised Seablaze I'd be on Overwatch with him today. So there might be like a small little cut in content, and then there might be me rebroadcasting with no audio, possibly to my PS4. Well, this is just so we can deal with this game first. And so this game is called Maiden and Spell, for those that don't know. It's a very open space 1v1 Magic Girl kind of game where everything's relying on skills and abilities and your ability to overwhelm the opponent with with your projectiles on screen in order for them to get hit 4 more times for you to win the game. But that's kind of not what we're here for. This is just gonna be in the background. So let's get on to today's topic. So what I'm going to be talking about today is actually something that I have thought about a little. And it's been whether or not card games can exist in paper after a certain amount of time versus how soon it'll be that everything will be digital. So I've been a card game player for a little bit of time, but not for too long. I've basically just existed as being like amazingly decent, but not too much. But usually, because as I often do as I play games, I'm usually a guy for a high amount of diversity when it comes to people that play. But often, it has been sort of, just on me, where I've sort of been like, a little bit uninterested in playing paper card games for a while. It's sort of, been a little bit of like the bane of my existence, sort of. But, Okay, that was good. So, realistically, I've been really thinking about it, and there may come a time when I just stop playing paper card games altogether. But I am often considering that card games may stay in paper, regardless of how I feel. Right. Hopefully this will be a little bit better. Hopefully card games will come to that point where progression from paper will be obvious, but it may not be for right now, where it may be a thing. Because I have been dreading that day where I just stop, playing card games altogether. But it has come to that point where I've been where the interest is slowly just waning away. Oh, that was a pretty bad round, actually. Oh, alright. I wonder if we can get any better. As an adult, I've always wondered, what's gonna happen after I stop playing card games. Because I always usually have video games, but it's always been like, sort of like a very, a little bit more of a touchy subject for me, because I've been connected with card games for a good number of past 10 years, and I've never really taken the consideration of thinking that maybe so often that paper card games just aren't that popular anymore. But even then, at the same time, I usually do when I'm considering it. But at the same time, I often know that a game's core market is mainly the game's core market is mainly people that play it physically versus people that play it digitally. And I've always considered I've always considered it. If it sounds like I'm being very repetitive, don't mind me. It's because I'm trying to stay focused on the game, as well as trying to make make my points very clear. Can I dodge? Nice. Nice. That was a good one. Whew. Alright. So, maybe, no. It's like, maybe it's not easy to understand where I'm coming from, and maybe it just sounds like I'm blathering a little bit. But I do have, like, a little bit of concern for card games, because I've played them for such a long time. But at the same time, I am aware that, there will come a point where I need to stop playing them altogether. And, you know, it has been like one of those, like, you know, one of those dreading moments where, you know, you have to consider to stop playing it. Okay. That was good. That was nice. Things gonna be hardwired in terms of like. You know, I haven't fully considered what happens after I stop paper. I haven't fully considered what's gonna happen after I stop playing paper card games. All I know is that I'm probably gonna be playing games, like playing video games more often versus anything else. Darn, that was bad. Nice. Okay. I don't know how she got hit with that immediately. That's pretty insane, though. Okay, that was my fault for running into that. Alright. That's pretty bad. Oh, didn't do it correctly defensively. Oh well. Gotta work on that one too. No, okay. Okay, I gotta get out. Oh, that's bad. Nice. Good dodge here. Nice dodge there. Oh, fuck. Oh, dang. Okay. Okay. I'm playing pretty even here, I guess. Playing pretty even here. But I am trying to, because I'm thinking maybe I might end up, you know, around, like, not MOBAs, but maybe like a, oh damn, I couldn't get away from that one. Probably should have went defensive first. Oh well. I'm trying not to be so committal, because the people that I currently hang out with, they do often play a lot of card games. And I often try not to be so, like, you know, very desperate to, like, you know, make, although I am aware that eventually I will stop playing card games altogether. It is a measure of when will I stop, and that is a question I couldn't answer currently. Some would say like maybe in like a couple years. I don't know. It seems more likely that I might do like that it might be like in a couple years I might stop. Yeesh. I'm most likely think like maybe like a couple years, maybe like 2024, 2025. I don't know. But it's starting to seem like I'm very much not gonna be doing paper anytime soon. Cause I am sort of like, you know, I am sort of falling in love with paper card games a little. but not too much because I do appreciate my friends for still playing them. Yeah. Oh, that was bad. There it is. Nice. Nice. There we go. Nice. Okay. Okay, I got hit on that one. That was wrong. That hurts a bit there. Okay. Nice. Shit. Oh, okay, that's bad. Oh, that was so wrong. Oh, man. All right. Maybe I am sort of like getting a little bit out of hand here. Let me do one more game, and I'll just try and focus a little bit on the topic. Because the topic went from like, oh, our like no our no our card no our card games going paper to, oh, what am I gonna end up doing after I stop playing it? I feel like I need to have, like, the topic down first. Wow. It feels like a tough match for me when I'm just getting spammed with Magic Girl energy across the board. Jesus Christ. No, I didn't escape in time. Oh, so bad. I have a B button? Get out of here. Yeah. Okay, that's bad. Definitely bad. I'm getting spammed with bullet hell energy here. Jesus, no. Christ. Okay. So more in this game, you do have to like keep your resources very, timely, because you never understand when you have to dodge because you're usually trying to dodge anything and everything, and you want to keep your defensive skills. You want to keep your defensive skills up. So, all right, let's pause for a little and talk about it. Let's pause for a little and talk about sort of how card games have been right now. Well, as far as right now, we are seeing a lot of card games going into what's called a collectible state. Wait, so are you just not gonna have hobbies at all at some point? No, I'll always have some. Because I'm usually the type to not have a hobby. I always need to be doing something. But then again, I don't want to be doing, like, kind of like something that I know that doesn't have a potential future in mind. I don't just want to be doing that without having fun. So the reason why I came up specifically with this topic is because as I was thinking about it earlier today, um, I was thinking more. I'm going to see my friends later on at a card shop. But as far as I understand, one's going to college, one's still a high school student. The other one's like a lot older than me, but plays card games a lot more than me. And then I started thinking personally about, well, why do I play them? That's because all my friends play them. And it feels sort of like, it feels kind of unfair to sort of put my woes on them. But at the same time, I don't want to just, do something I don't like while at the same time missing out on meeting friends. Although I do understand that, that friends, the main purpose of card games are the friends that you gain by the card game, not the card game itself. So it's been much more of a, well, how long am I willing to play card games for? And I'm sort of putting it like, putting it on like a little bit of like, not the back burner completely, but I've been holding that point off for a little bit because I never knew when I would stop. It sounds like I'm being very repetitive right now, and it's sort of because I'm trying to get the point down without being too confusing. So, I'm at sort of like this very, very thin line of playing card games at all and just playing video games a lot more. Because there's one that I do way more than the other. But in turn, it would make me lose the purpose of going to one location, which means purposely, not seeing my friends as often there. Although that is just sort of a place we meet up at every day, specifically. And it's not just usually to play card games. Sometimes we do just hang out. Other times we do just, randomly talk and minutia about memes and all. But I'm sort of kind of taking it to heart that maybe it's about time I stopped. And I didn't think it would be so soon. But at the same time, I knew it was gonna happen eventually. Cause I'm the type of guy that says, well, if someone's not having fun, then there's no point in playing the game. Because the point of the game is to have fun. And if you're not having fun, then you're just doing something to waste time. Then again, we do know how people in card games get when you lose. Sometimes you just get like in a really bad mood. Some people just some people are just in it for the match, and they can just take the loss and then they just want to play again. But then you start to see their attitude get a lot more closed down, and then they just sort of just disconnect. That disconnect is kind of like what I mean when I say, how effective are card games when you already have them as a friend? Which is why I'm also trying to make the point of, do you really have to waste money in real life to do what's going to cause the same point? To do what's going to cause the same problem? I can understand that means you're not going to see them in real life. But then again, when you're seeing someone in real life, it's not always about just playing cards. You're just trying to hang out. Because, you enjoy the company, and or you want to just talk about some stuff that's been going through your week or going through your day if you see them more than twice a week. Or maybe some stuff that went on during the holiday and you just want to talk to them about it. Yeah, it's kind of like that. But then again, I do understand how important card games are. at developing friendships from very, antisocial circles, because not everyone is just like quick to make a friend. Not everyone just interacts that well socially. Some people are just socially awkward. Some people just don't know how to act around a group of people. Some people are just getting into a new environment, and so they have nothing that makes them connect. So they're trying to find something that connects them to, like, a certain group of people, and to make a group of friends, so at least he feels like he belongs somewhere. And sometimes that similarity could be just card games. That I get. I get what the purpose of card games can be. But for right now, it's more like the company wants you to be more dedicated to the game than having fun. Because even being dedicated to the game means that you just use your money on it. You'll buy product because you might like it every once in a while, versus just you're just playing card games because you have fun with the game. And dedication does come with time. Have I lost interest or joy in these things? In sort of connecting through card? No, do you mean by connecting through card games, or you lost the interest in being dedicated to a card game? I'm asking you. Did you mean the dedication portion, or do you mean just card game playing in general? Hmm. So not this character. Hold on. I'm just waiting for. Oh, in general. In general, no. it's not even that I don't find card games interesting. It's that I'm trying to figure, you know, not just the purpose of card games, but the purpose of card games in the long haul. Because there are just some there are just some interesting card games. Not gonna lie, there are just interesting card games anywhere and everywhere. But at the same time, very much, I'm no. So I very much understand that there are, little intricacies with it, particularly. Well, that's how I was supposed to do it. Okay. Lost interest? No. It's like lost interest. It's very that's a very heavy word. Lost interest in card games specifically? No. Having lost interest in playing card games? No. Learning some card games? Maybe. Although I am sort of the guy that you get to a point where you're playing due to other people playing. If they eventually stop, will you have other reason or connection to play said games? I think it will. I think that has been the case realistically. Usually when I've gotten into a game because of a set of friends, once they stop playing, then I kind of stop playing if I don't already like it. Well, then again, I'll always try to bring us together to play a different game, because it doesn't feel like virtualistic, and then all of a sudden everyone needs to stop playing. No, I understand people do like playing those card games. I more have just been a little bit hesitant with always starting another one. Oh, that's just a PM function. Okay, so to make the point a little clear, I don't hate people that play card games because they're already addicted to it. I'm kind of just not a fan of playing one game for a long time. It takes away the interest. It takes away the interest in the game sometimes. Alright, I think I do need to make this point a little bit more clear. Let me do my very best to sort of get this clear. Good song, by the way. I do not hate card games. I do hate what card games become if they become too overdeveloped and sort of focus on the money-making side versus the purpose of the player, which is to be more of a benefit to the player. However, I do understand that being more of a benefit to a player means that it's either more cost effective or it costs them virtually nothing, whereas the dedication is only time. I in turn believe that almost any game should be accessible without having the use to excessively spend money. Because I even believe that every game does have, like, you know, a minimum budget that it can and should follow. But in turn, I will not discourage them from playing the game. I will only discourage them from spending a lot. Now, as for me, usually my connection in games comes from playing other people in those games. If the community stays, you know, well avid and it stays well knit and connected, or you have like a very solid playing group and they're willing to go to other locations to play other people just to keep the game, you know, just to keep the game diverse and fun, then yes, I would always be akin to playing those games. However, as I've gotten older, I started to realize more that usually when your community is very widespread, the only thing that can keep a game very dedicated is a quick means to playing the game. And if you can't meet physically, or not everyone can get access to a computer and a webcam and a microphone, then the next best way would have to be digital. Digital seems like the most common place to where all card games should go to, because whereas all the negatives have popped up from, we know all the negative stigmas that come from mobile games, you know, like massive, like, you know, very unethical game monetization, or very, very, like, turned art, like, very, very, you know, dangerous RNG loops and gambling addictions, and people actually putting money into those games. People are, you know, putting excessive money into those games. You know, thus fueling something that you don't want to fuel. So thus fueling an addiction you don't want to fuel. So again, would be a good example of what you're talking about. If we had to use a good example of a game that can exist digitally, but at the same time be sort of a game that is digitally a beacon for communities, but at the same time, once it's over monetized, it becomes very dangerous. The more common example would have been Magic the Gathering Online, not Magic the Gathering Arena, but Magic the Gathering Online. And I guess the more common one that I would be able to understand is Master Duel, where people that do not get to meet still have the ability to play each other through, you know, they have the ability just to meet each other or do a friend match and then just play it and then play against each other with decks they've made, and the game's preferably monetized. But at the same time, you do have to deal with things like booster packs. And booster packs are, in real life, you're gambling to get a card. You're paying this much money for the chance to get the card. And all you know is that of the packs that are remaining in your set, their card is still there until you get one of it. Now, knowing how companies could work around that, they could make the pull rate even lower. And let's just say there's an in-game currency and you burn the in-game currency, but the person really wants the card, and let's just say they haven't been pulling that well, and knowing Master Duel's crafting system of how you can trade in ultra rare for an ultra rare or an ultimate rare for an ultimate rare if you sort of dismantle it, but you don't get like an equal amount to dismantle and just just make cards out of nowhere. Where you kind of where you kind of gotta give up cards to make the cards. So you have to use all of your in-game currency to either one, burn cards so to get really crappy ultimate rares, and then you have to keep buying more stuff to go keep burning those just so you can have the ability to craft that ultimate rare you want at a certain number. It makes it accessible, but at the end of the day, you have to spend a lot just to be able to do it. And that's all, and that also comes with a dedication of time. Let's say in order to get all those points, you had to have played, let's say, an hour a day. An hour a day adds up. It may not be as present as 7 hours of 128 hours. But then if you assume the time let's say they're an adult, we can assume that they take the 8 hours out of work, the half an hour or an hour it takes for them to travel to and from work, the time it takes for them to either shower at night or do whatever they have to do and earlier in the day, or right when they're coming back in, and when they're doing their natural business, they're making dinner, they're sitting down and relaxing. Sometimes they may just come in and they just take a nap, and then they just wake up, and then the first thing they do is they kind of turn the game back on, or they sort of take a shower, eat dinner first. Yeah, it kind of comes with a dedication of time when an hour can build up so much in a day that is already limited due to the amount that you have to sleep to have a whole day. Because you sleep, you wake up, you go to work, come back, you make food, you eat, and you shower up to get ready for the next day. But then you take an hour out of that very limited time to just play that game. That hour is very crucial because it's an hour of the limited amount of time you have. So now we're not counting 7 out of 128 hours. It's 7 out of the remaining hours that's not filled doing something important. All that casual time, all that dedication time is the time that's built to is the time that they have that might be playing the game, or at the same time just relaxing from a hard day at work. It's all in the dedication time. Card games require dedication. Even paper card games require dedication because you still have to practice them. If you just bought a deck and you just played it regularly, then at no turn would there ever be this conversation. This conversation would never exist if it was just buy a deck, play it one time, and throw it away. You wasted $15, but you wasted $15 for one-time experience. You didn't really like it, so you gave it up, or you didn't keep it, or you kept it because it was your first deck and you didn't do anything to change it, but you know how to basically play the game. But the people that really know how to play the game are the people that put so much time into it, so much knowledge into it, taking up time researching cards, what card's good for this, or what card's good for that, or how can I build my deck so that it could be the best possible, how much money does it cost. A lot of this comes back to how much does it cost monetarily, because in time it is indefinite, because card games can get as complicated as possible, or better yet, card games get as complicated as the community allows the game to be. A card game can be very fast and simple, or it can be extremely long and complicated. The dedication to card games is a veritable payoff to how much money you are willing to spend to be good at the game. And you can see it. Because usually in higher competition circles, it's about the people that have spent thousands of dollars trying to get the cards that they needed, or get the deck that they wanted at a full power, or to get some of the staple cards that they needed to make sure that all their decks were working at the same strength as, like, you know, the best deck that probably costs, like, I don't know, $400, $500, or depending on the game's, like, you know, minimum budget, like barely like a couple $100 past the minimum budget. It's all a matter of dedication and time. That's what card games want. So that's what card game companies want from you. They want dedication and time. They want that time because that time is precious. Every minute spent on that game is a chance that you would spend money. So my choice is, since there are already free options, since there are already like free options of playing any game necessarily, and there's already, like, you know, the accepted medium in playing the game, whereas, you know, we could talk about Master Duel technically being Konami's future tournament center for how they do their Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship series, or how eventually there will be a digital landscape for Bushiroad and the way that they conduct all their future Bushiroad championships, where they don't have to spend any money, but the gratification is digital. Because all you have to do is digitally make the image, make it look nice, give it the text, you know, give a nice little animation saying, thank you for playing the game for such and such years, or thank you for coming to such and such event. Here's a special little pack. And then it opens it up, and then boom, you get like you know, an exclusive play mat, or you get like an exclusive card, and like a couple more field centers, or maybe, you know, special little markers, special little, like, you know, like for Vanguard it would be like a quick shield, or you would get something like a force marker, or you get like a special looking gift marker, whether it be in Force XL or in Force XL or Force XL and Protect. It's kind of like, you know, realistically, they don't have to spend money to make us spend money. What they mainly want is your time. Yeah, all that rambling was basically meant to say that they want your time because that time, in turn, could mean money overall. So I hope that at least explained the situation the way I see it. So with that being said, unfortunately on my very radical tangent that sort of, you know, downplayed how beautifully stunning, even for a 2D game, this game looks. My apologies for ranting about the way when you get in such a passionate topic, you do sort of like, you know, sort of like blank out. And unfortunately for me, I sort of blanked out when I was going through that. So that's my fault. You know, sort of undoing just how beautiful this game looks. For very, like, you know, for very, like, low resolution. For very, like, low resolution game, or, like, you know, not such a very heavy on animation type game, it's still a good game. It has its complexities, it's very simple. Like it's very simple. It's a game that you can just play around with. You know, it takes a little learning, but once you get it, you get it. And hopefully, maybe this game can get back some of its player base. They haven't done anything wrong. It's just that this game is fairly old. I think technically, according to this date, it will be about 2 years old. Coming on 3 later on this year in December. But overall, I would recommend it. It's a very good game to try out maybe once or twice. And it's best to buy it when it's on sale. It's a very good game. In my opinion, it's a very good game. It can get a little bit overwhelming, but once you learn the movements and the buttons and such, you're good. But let's sort of end on a very nice note. You can like card games. You can have friends. You and your friends can play card games. And that's fine. If you like your card game, the rant wasn't for you. I assure you. The rant was only to make people get that sometimes a company can outstretch its bounds and can just either take away one mode and make it another mode and make it just as effective. And at the end of the day, paper card games can go away, and in turn, the community won't change. Because having both of them as an option, but when you're growing up, or when you're more like when you lose the community around the game, the interest can quickly fade away. And interest in a card game can very quickly dwindle as it can flourish in the correct environment. So all I'm saying is, if you don't want to play card games, that's fine. Don't let any outside influence force you to play a card game. If you have an interest in a card game, go ahead and play it. If you can get someone else interested in a game you like, that's great. You might have someone to play with. But you don't always have to encourage everyone to play the game you like. Card games will come and go. Many have shown up. A couple have died for a couple of them to come in. Just don't be surprised when your card game is just, not being printed in paper anymore and just only exists in digital. It's kind of the only way that it's going to stay alive. Because once the server goes and the card game isn't digital anymore, and all you'd have is the paper game, then it's going to be just as hard finding people in real life that play the game without having to go scrounging and searching for people that already go to play it. So, a game going digital is your best chance for the game to stay alive. And what I would say is that towards the future, maybe not the near future, but maybe a couple years down, just don't be surprised when they start releasing their game digitally, exclusively digital, because it won't cost them any money, but in turn will make them more. But at the same time, even not being together can keep a community active. So, just appreciate your card games as they exist now. In the future, card games may and most likely will end up digital. And it'll be so much more difficult to play paper card games because you'll rarely have anyone to find to play the game with. So thank you guys for coming on. By the way, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Sorry that took too long. Sorry my TED Talk took too long. I was doing some stuff today. But overall, I'm just gonna leave here. I'm gonna leave you on a good note that I will still be doing card games for maybe a year or two, but it won't be, the big card games. I'm more of looking into the older ones that have already died so I can learn the mistakes and sort of how to learn from those mistakes. And I already have a friend who I can, at least, who doesn't mind trying the game maybe once or twice. And that's all I've ever wanted. Because I already have a lot of my other friends and they already play a lot of games with me. And as a lonely 32-year-old guy, I can say that's all I could ever ask for. So I do appreciate my friends, and I do appreciate you guys for watching the video. Sorry for ranting so much. Leave in the comments any experiences you've had with card games, be it good, or be it bad, or a little bit more complicated. And then answer this question. Would a card game being digital be an issue for you, or would it be a benefit to you, and why? Thanks for coming, and remember, all your homework is due tomorrow, and if you don't, I'll tell the homeroom teacher. Alright guys, that's the end of homeroom. Get out.